Hello, everybody. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this live or replay from. Again, I'm Arian here, coming to you live from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. It's the third day of January, and it's already 11:30 p.m. here in Windsor, and I hope you had a great day. If you're here in the western side, but if you are on the other side of the globe, good morning. It's morning right there, especially in the Philippines. Shout out to our family, friends, relatives, who's watching right now. Thank you again for your support. So let me just give you a quick background. If this is the first time that you are seeing me, again, I'm Aryan here, and I'm a Filipino immigrant here, currently living in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, together with my husband and two young boys. And so I used to be an SAP programmer back in the Philippines for 12 years. And we looked for greener pastures right after the pandemic. And so we landed here in Canada in 2022. I started here as a student, took up project management and the certification exam. And then months after, I got hired as an IT analyst. And then just again, months after, not long after, I found this digital business opportunity, which has changed my life in so many ways. So, in this digital business, I help ambitious, hardworking career parents take back control of their life and have more time with their family by starting this legitimate digital business. So, that's my mission. So, tonight we are actually going to be discussing about another interesting topic. And again, I am committed to give value to you guys. So I thought about these topics that could you can actually use so that you can organize your life, your time, your tasks at least at the beginning of the year, right? So that you can go ahead and try to run after or achieve your goals this year. So, without further ado, our topic for tonight is time blocking mastery, how to make time for things that matter most in a daily basis. So, that's in a daily basis. Let me just correct that. There you go. There. So, how to make time for things that matter most in a daily basis. So, I believe I first heard about time blocking in one of the video ads of Mind Valley from Vision Lakiani. And before, I used to just write my to do list, like whatever task that I have to accomplish for the day. And I don't really put time in it because it's difficult to track the time, right? Especially when in some tasks you are enjoying yourself. It's easy to lose track of the time, and so I feel that it didn't really work for me, but I did it over and over and over again, and I felt like at the end of the year I didn't really accomplish major or big goals. So right now, I practice this. I also practice this time blocking, and just so I would know where my time really goes, right? In the past few days, in the past go lives that we had, I discussed, the goal setting for the year, and it is important that we are aware where our time really goes and how do we really go after our big dreams if we feel that we don't really have time for it, right? Especially if you have a job, a day job, or probably multiple jobs if you're here in US or in Canada. I can totally relate to that, and it's very difficult for us to to accomplish things that are for ourselves or for our goals or family goals, right? And time blocking is one of the tools, the ways of how we can really start, at least start going after our big goals, big dreams. Because again, the most important thing is to take action and make time for it, right? Take action and make time for it. Because if we don't really start, how do we achieve it, right? If we don't take small actions every single day or every day, how do we really achieve the big goals, right? We are like, it's like every day we're on autopilot and we don't know if we're like, if we really want something, we don't know if we will be able to achieve it by the end of the year, right? Especially that we're in the beginning of 2025. So, um, even if we have these lists, these to-do lists, we don't know where our time really goes or if we're really allotting time for the things that matter most. So me, as a mom of two young kids, young boys, I'm also a wife, and I also have a day job, and I have this digital business as well. And I also try to at least reach out, talk to friends sometimes, of course. um, I totally get it. Like, if you are like me, who would have time, right, to do some passion projects, or probably take yourself out of that ordinary day and make time for other things, right? So that constant juggling act, that could feel like a circus, right? That's since we're on autopilot, we don't know where our effort goes, where our time really goes, and of course, if we're not aware of that, if we're not aware of that, it's easy for our dreams, for our goals to just slip by, right? For time to slip by. So time blocking is our way to reclaim our time. That's our first step so that we can take action, even small actions, to at least achieve our goals this year. So, and also, the impact of this time blocking is that because you have a planned list, and you have allotted time for that on a daily basis, it reduces stress because you already have expected what you're going to do for the next day, right? Or what's going to happen for the next day. But of course, there are still risks to that. There are still inevitable things that happen, and we know that life happens. And so we cannot really take control of it 100%. But this time blocking tool is really one of the best ways so that we can be more calm as we go on our day, and so we don't get easily overwhelmed, right? So that's where time blocking comes in, and it's simple, but yes, it's really powerful because as I mentioned, since we listed down our big goals when we set our goals in the previous goal lives, right? We identified which aspects of our life are really very important to us. We've identified at least our top three, right? And so, what are those small things that we can do, that we can make time for, so that we could improve these aspects of our lives this year? So, if you're ready, let's start. So, let's first identify, or I could give you the meaning of time blocking. So, time blocking is a productivity method where you schedule specific blocks of time for different tasks or activities throughout your day. Think of it as creating an appointment for everything you need to do, whether it's work, family time, or self care. So instead of tackling a never ending to do list, which is what I mentioned earlier, you are actually assigning tasks to specific time slots. Okay, you don't have to put in the exact times, but you are making or dividing your, let's say, 24 hours in different time slots, giving your day a major structure, like a main structure and focus. Okay, so that's what time blocking is. Because before, what I do is that, okay, from just like in elementary, we did this, like, okay, this is your schedule. So from 7 a.m. to 8:45, and then from 8:50 to, that exact time, we cannot really, we cannot really track them down, right? We can't be strict in tracking them down because that actually puts pressure, right? So we only use time blocks, and I'm gonna give you an example later on how I use it, how I really have, or what does my time blocks include. Okay, so the first tip, actionable tip, is to write down everything you need to do for the day or week. Please don't beat yourself up to this, okay? You don't have to put a lot of things, and you are the only ones that is aware of what you can do, what you're capable of on a daily basis, right? So, for example, if you have work, what are those tasks or things that you need to do at work that has a deadline, right? So, for example, another example is that if you are doing your groceries, um, your when do you really do your groceries? When do you pick up your kids? Or yeah, if you have a day job, from which time up to what time? And then if the kids have activities after school, then what time do you bring them there? What time do you pick them up? Things like that. So you have to list everything down. And if it varies day by day, like for example, this you have a different schedule for Monday, maybe you could also have a different one for Tuesday. Like for us, the kids only go to their taekwondo training during Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then yeah, Thursdays, and then only Marky goes on Friday, and then they both go Saturday morning. So it varies, right? But you have to list them all down so that you can easily categorize them. So that's the second one. Categorize your tasks. So you have to group them, you have to name them. For example, for my work, you have the work block, or for the kids activities, you have the activities block, or extracurricular block, things like that. So you just have to group down similar tasks, so that you can at least optimize where you can put them in the same block, right? So that's the second one, categorize them. And then the third one is to set time limits. So again, as I mentioned earlier, you don't need to put the very exact minute or time for this, but you need to be realistic about it. You need to assign realistic time slots for each task. Okay, so say in the morning, you are the ones who cook the breakfast, who do the dishes and bring the kids to school. So what how many hours can you allot on that chores or tasks, right? So let's say I wake up at let's say 7 a.m., and I do those things from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then after that I go to work. So that 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., that is your first time block. So that's how you do it. And if you can use some tools, some apps, so that it could be easier for you to remember, then you can do so. um, it's much easier to map it out, and so you can track yourself. You can have reminders as well if you put them somewhat like a Google Calendar, or even in just a calendar in your phone, right? So you have to set time limits to those tasks that you have categorized. And then the fourth one is to prioritize the big rocks. So this is what I mentioned earlier about, when we set goals and we've identified which aspects of our lives are really very important to us, right? And so we want to put more time because we want to improve that aspect of our life on a bigger scale. Like, of course, if you only put a little time and effort into that aspect of your life, would you expect that to blow up? Would you expect that to improve a lot at the end of the year or month, right? No, right? So we want to prioritize the big rocks. We need to focus on the most important tasks that align with your big goals. Okay, so we need to schedule these things during our peak energy hours. Peak energy hours, and I know not a lot of us know what time are our peak energy hours, because sometimes, again, we're just on autopilot and we just do what we have to do. But as we go along, as we really organize these things one by one or step by step, or just by taking baby steps, along the way we will be able to identify which one works, which one doesn't work, um, when our energy is low and when our energy is at its peak. So most of us, if especially if you are like a morning person, right, your peak energy hours are mostly in the morning, of course, because you're a morning person. Like, for example, when you wake up at 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., right, your peak energy hours will be like 8 or 7 to 10 a.m. or to 11 a.m., right? Because you're a morning person. But it differs because sometimes there are morning persons and there are night persons, right? Evening person. So it will depend on you, on how you will schedule those tasks, categories, and time blocks, uh, when you are trying to prioritize the things that really matter most to you, so that you can chase after your goals. So that's the fourth one. And then the fifth one is include breaks and flex time. Include breaks and flex time. So don't ever forget this, because we know that life happens, right? And not everything that we want to do in a day goes as planned. Again, I mentioned earlier, there are still risks. There are still unexpected situations that are happening because life happens, and we know that, right? So we can probably schedule like uh, several minutes of buffer time in between those blocks, just to at least catch our breath or maybe handle unexpected delays. And again, don't beat up yourself on this, because you don't really need to be exact with the time slots, with the blocks, with the tasks that you have to finish. You just have to be consistent with it. So, and also, of course, we are just humans. We're not robots. Even if we're on autopilot, sometimes or most of the time, we are not robots. So, don't forget to include some breaks in there in between. Um, so you can breathe, you can you know, banish the brain fog, the you can at least fight overwhelm if that's the term that you want to use for that. So again, we don't do overwhelm, so this is why we're doing this, right? So that's the fifth one. Am I right? Fifth one. And then the sixth one is you can again review and adjust daily. So you don't need to be very precise or exact about those time blocks. Again, you can review them, assess them from time to time, and then I mentioned also earlier that you can check what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then adjust them as you go along. And it also depends on you, depends on your preference. You can tweak the schedule, the blocks as well. You can probably add more categories, or maybe rearrange them if you don't have a definite list for the week, right? So of course that will be as needed. Again, it depends on you and in your preference. So the last but not the least would be to protect your time blocks. So let's say you've already arranged everything, you already have listed them down. The last, but not the least thing that you have to do for those blocks is to treat them as non negotiable appointments. So this is where the discipline goes, right? You should say no to distractions and communicate your schedule to those around you. So for example, for us, um, this is why I actually bought the weekly planner that's magnetic, and I put it in the fridge so that I would put their notes, what will happen for the day or what's planned for the day for the family, and then everybody could see it, right? Because everybody passes by the fridge and they would see, oh, mommy has a go live today at 7 p.m. or at 10 p.m. or whatever. And then, oh, okay, it's pizza day for Miles. So we will not have to, uh, he will not have to bring his food. Like we don't have to prepare for it, right? And sometimes, just to remind us what days will be their taekwondo training, or could be their promotion, belt promotion, right? So at least what you want in this tip, from this tip, is to let everybody know your schedule. So this actually avoids misunderstandings, miscommunication, right? And of course, you have to be disciplined, you have to be consistent that these time blocks will be followed, right? So here's my example. So this is what I actually have in my list. So in the morning, I don't really wake up very early. And it's because I sleep kind of late at night. But it's my husband who prepares for the breakfast of the kids and their packed lunch. So I only wake up at around 7 or 8, and that is my morning block. So from 7 or 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning, whatever we have left in the kitchen, the mess of him cooking breakfast, like I will clean it up, I will eat my breakfast, and I'll do my savers routine, and I will organize these things at home. That's my morning block. So that's from 7 or 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Okay. And then right after that, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., that is my little slot for my business, for my digital business. So I will check, because again, my business is running 24/7 online, right? In the back end, right? So what I like to do is from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., that 1 hour window, I would check if I have new leads or if I have inquiries in my business page, and reply back to these people, send these people welcome emails, and try to catch up on the chat groups in the community, what's going on, So that little window, 1 hour window, is for my business just before I start working. So my work starts at 10 a.m. up to 5 p.m. Okay, those are my work tasks. But in between that time block, which is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., I already have listed blocks, like sub blocks inside it, that includes smaller tasks at work, whatever I need to accomplish for the day. So of course I won't mention that anymore, but that is my day-to-day tasks for my day job, right? And then after work at 5 p.m. To 7 p.m., I cook dinner for the family, and so these are my chores block. So I cook dinner for the family. We eat together most of the time, and clean up the kitchen, wash the dishes, those chores. So I do that from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And after that, once I am done, like I rest for a bit, maybe 30 minutes, and then the next time block will be for family bonding. So every day, or almost every day, we just have like little bonding time, like watch movie together, or maybe play games sometimes. So I have blocked that 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. For the family. So sometimes I go with them when they have taekwondo training, right? Just so I could be with them. I will be there for them, present for them. So that's my family block. And then after that, 10 p.m. to 12 p.m., or sometimes I go beyond that, but I hope not. I always hope I don't really sleep too late at night. But again, I go back to being online and checking out my business, and just to see how I can really help others as well. My mentee, my accountability partners, and our coaches. I would check out the group chats. I would finish a course or two in the training site, just so I could keep myself involved as well in my digital business. So those are my time blocks. But of course, it varies. In different like days, like Mondays, Tuesdays, depends on what activities the kids have in the afternoon, and of course what are the tasks that I need to do for the weekend. So, and also, we have church time on Saturdays. I even work on Sundays, in my day job. So those are my other specific time blocks for the weekend. So that's it. So I know that this could probably be daunting, be overwhelming at first, but once you have listed all the things that you need to do for the day, it's easier for you to accomplish little things, that for things that really matter most to you. So with what I have told you, if you can notice, the most important things there is my time for the family, my time for my work or day job, my time for my business, and my time for my kids, right? So, and also during the weekend, I have time for church, and I also have time for family and friends. I call them often, right? So that's it. And it gets easier every week, every month if you're really consistent with it, because um, it almost seems like you're also being, I mean, conditioning yourself into being on autopilot, but in an organized way, right? So by blocking your time, you will feel more in control of your day and reduce the chaos of multitasking, because again, studies show now that multitasking doesn't really work because we can only process in our brain one thing at a time, one task at a time. So it's better that we are focused on one thing at one point at one time rather than multitasking. So there you have it. I hope you got some value from that, and I hope you have your time blocks prepared as well. Share with us if you did it. What's the effect in your day-to-day tasks, involvements, and I would be happy to see if this worked for you. Because again, this really works for me now, especially that I'm only working from home. So that's it from me, and I hope I will see you again in my next live. By the way, if you are interested to change your life, this 2025, I encourage you to really register in my website, aryangill.com. Enter your full name and email address in my website, and I will send you the link to our free info session, the next live info session. But if you can't attend that, we will send you a replay link as well. I would also connect with you through email. If you can follow my business page and add me here on Facebook, add me in my profile, and I can help you, like, check out this digital business, and see how can this really help you and your family too, because it has helped a lot of people who have transitioned in the online space for the past few years, and who have already achieved success, their ideal lifestyle, the life that they truly want through this digital business. So I hope I'll see you inside. And again, see you again in my next live tomorrow. Bye for now.